Hey everybody, it's Andrew Martin coming to you with another video on Friday, June 12th. Happy Friday. It is kind of cloudy and overcast here in Seattle this morning, which is a nice break from the sun. And I gotta say, it gives really good light. Don't I look amazing? um, and I'm gonna just jump right into it. Today I want to talk about letting it be versus letting it go, which really just comes down to faith and trust. And letting go of control and the need to force and the need to manipulate. And, if you've been watching my videos for a while, or if you know me, and if you don't, I'm going to just let you in on a little secret. I am a recovering control freak. Yeah, I've always tried to force and manipulate and coerce and cajole and, entice and whatever it is that, by the power of my will, I can force things to be what I want and force it to, I want it now. I want what I want and I want it now. And I'll only be happy when I get it this way and when it looks exactly like this. And if it doesn't, then, I'm not interested. So I was thinking this morning about letting it go versus letting it be. And to me, I'm going to tell you a story in a bit, but to me, letting it go, there's like this sadness inherent in that there's a connotation of kind of, oh, I got to let it go. Like, womp, womp. There's some sort of like defeated energy in that for myself. And I'm certainly not trying to say that you shouldn't, use the phrase let it go. But for me, I was thinking this morning about all the dreams that I have and all the goals that I've had over the past couple of years, and specifically the things that I desire for myself now, personally, professionally, financially, all of it. The relationship, the money, the job, the career, the long-term goals of the house with the garden and the chickens and the bees. And, at some point, I also want to have like a destination retreat that's sort of like bed and breakfast, but also has places for, people to come and stay and do classes or workshops or whatever, and have a big garden and sort of like a mini farm almost, and have it be really great food and really great vibes, and people can just go and unplug and sort of retreat and relax and rejuvenate and refresh and, reconnect with themselves, all that. So I've got all these big dreams, and I've got all these things that I can see them. I can taste it. I can feel it. I know it's there. I see these visions of my life in little flashes of what I want, and I can feel the resonance of it. So I know it's coming. But letting it be requires faith and trust. Letting it be says, I know what I want. I've set I've set my intentions for what I want. I've aligned with my team and my non-physical help, the larger part of who I am, to bring it to me. I trust that it will show up. And in the meantime, I just got to let it be. Living in the void, this is sort of that same idea. And, if you haven't watched the video, living in the void, and then you got to do the work. This is sort of an extension of both of those videos. I would invite you to watch them if you haven't. But living in the void requires, so we do the work, we clear the field. I've been using this analogy of, if you want to plant a garden and you have a field full of crap, you got to clear out all the crap. That's doing our work. It's clearing the field, preparing this void to allow it to, grow and produce and bring what we desire to fruition in our lives. So you clear the field, and then you get ready to plant, and you've plowed the field, and it's fertilized, and it's all ready to go, and it's beautiful and rich and ripe and ready to be planted. And so you plant your seeds through your intentions. I want this, I desire this, this is what I want to work on, this is what I'm working towards. And then you just got to trust, right? Because we know if we were to plant seeds today and go out to the garden tomorrow, we wouldn't suddenly think that we were a horrible gardener and plow the field up again. We know inherent in this process that there is a cycle and a timing to everything, and that the seeds got to sprout and germinate, and then it starts to grow and flower and bloom, and then it brings fruit and all of that. And there's a trust, there's an inherent understanding that things take time, and that we really don't have to do anything to bring this garden to life. Once we've planted it, And we water it and fertilize it and tend to it and care for it, certainly. And sort of observe it. And if there's something that we need to do, pluck a weed or, add some extra water or fertilizer, we will. But ultimately, there's not really a lot we even can do. You can't force it to germinate or grow or, flower any faster. And it would be very easy for me, as I'm using this analogy, to plant my garden and then go sit in my lawn chair in front of that damn plot of land and watch it every single day until it starts to sprout and flower. That's, what, 2, 3, 4 weeks? Meanwhile, the life that I have now is kind of passing me by, and I've sort of projected myself into this future where I'm not present in the moment. And I've just realized that this morning. There was a quote by Robert Tew, T-E-W, I think I'm saying his name right. It says, "Things will start changing for the better when you begin trusting yourself." And I love that quote. And what it made me think of was trusting yourself means yourself, me as I am now, but also self in terms of the larger part of who I am, my higher self, my guides, my team, my protectors, which there is no separation. It's all energy and we're all working towards the same goal. And I call it Big Andrew, Little Andrew. Little Andrew is me in this physical body with my powers of creation and what I can do and dream up and what I desire. And I'm the, I come up with the ideas and the plans. And then Big Andrew, the non-physical part of me, the part that isn't visible to the naked eye, Big Andrew's job is to do the heavy lifting. I say, this is what I want. And Big Andrew said, okay, cool, let's do it. And then I stay present in the moment and allow Big Andrew to hand me the steps, to hand me the goal or the instructions, so to speak, okay, go here. And I just trust that, okay, there's a reason I'm supposed to go here and then do this. Okay, I just trust that there's a reason I'm supposed to do this. And it all begins to piece itself together as the unfolding of my plan, the unfolding of my dream and of my desires. And that's where it's so easy to get mucked up, is trying to, saying, well, I have to see the whole plan. How am I going to get there? How is it going to occur? And the reality is that, I look at where I am now in my life, and if there's no way I could have plotted this path or written a map or a plan of how to get where I am today, because I was moving towards something I had never experienced before. So there's no way I could have written a plan to get here. The mind, the ego, only creates from what it knows. It only has access to past experience. So the mind is not a visionary. The mind is not a genius. The mind is not, the one that comes up with the brand new, exciting master plan. And in fact, when we are moving towards anything unknown or, previously unexperienced, the mind freaks out and tries to tell us not to go there because it doesn't know where we're going. So it assumes that we're going to be in danger. But that's not the case. And that's the trick, is to trust that the plan will be shown to us, right steps, right time, in the right order. So here's my story. In 2005, I had been living in New York for almost 7 years. In 2005, I had been a makeup artist for a long time, for this whole time in New York. And I'd had a really good run. I was doing amazing things, but ultimately I decided that I was ready. I didn't really want to be doing makeup anymore, and that I really didn't want to be doing it in New York. But, I didn't know where I was going to go or what I was going to do. And New York is not really the city to sit and ponder your future. At least it wasn't for me. I didn't have that kind of money. I couldn't afford to sit and ponder my future. So I had lost my apartment because I couldn't pay my rent, and because I was freelancing at the time and it just wasn't happening. And so I had moved in with some friends in Jersey City, and I was sleeping on a mattress in their living room, and it was just not a good place to be. My friends were perfectly lovely, but I just wasn't happy. I was just overwhelmed and lost and frustrated and angry and just, disillusioned. I didn't know where I was going or what I was going to do. And after, about 8 months, it kind of they were like, okay, girl, you really, we love you, but you've been sleeping in our living room for 8 months and you got to figure something out. You got to go. Was basically the message I had gotten. And of course, why, I would have said the same thing. So, I was kind of at the end of my rope, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I had a lot of debt now that was beginning to accumulate. It was this perfect storm of being at this place in this life that I was like, holy shit. So one day And this was every day. I was like, I don't know what to do. I need help. I need help. And I wasn't, I wasn't really super deep into my spiritual experience at that point. Like I meditated and I would sort of pray or ask, but I didn't really have a connection with my guides that was conscious. I really didn't have a very, focused practice in a focused way, or even an understanding of how I could manifest what I wanted and create a better life for myself. One day I was sitting having coffee in the apartment. My roommates had gone to work and they were gone. I was home alone, and I was sitting in this chair looking out the window, just like, what the hell am I going to do? And suddenly I heard this voice that said, you do realize it doesn't need to be this difficult. You can move back to Seattle if you want to. And I looked around and I was like, okay, who the hell was that? I didn't, but it was a voice. It wasn't a voice in my head. I heard it as clearly as I would have heard anyone sitting next to me. And it was just this moment of epiphany of like, oh, of course, I can just go back to Seattle. I had lived in Seattle before. I moved to New York. And so literally that day, I started calling friends in Seattle, asking them, what do you think of this? What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? And I had a really good friend of mine who's still a really good friend today. Basically, he said, well, I've got an extra bedroom. You can come crash with me if you want to. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane back to Seattle. I'd sold everything that I owned except for like 8 boxes. And I moved back to Seattle. Fast forward, and I started down this journey a little bit and down this road a little bit of this spiritual understanding and this, expansion and a deeper connection. Ultimately, I wasn't ready. So in 2008, I moved to San Francisco. I wasn't really ready to face my life. I wasn't really ready to do the work that was necessary to get me to where I was going. And so I moved to San Francisco. Fast forward to 2012, and I was working for a modeling agency in San Francisco as an agent. I was running the men's board, and they closed their San Francisco office. The beginning of the year in 2012, they decided that they were going to close their San Francisco office, and they offered me a severance package, which was just 1 month of benefits and salary because I'd only been with them for a year. Or there was an opportunity in LA, and I could go to LA and work in the LA office on the men's board there. The minute that they told me about the LA opportunity, my gut was like, oh gosh, no, don't go to LA, don't go to LA. I just wasn't, I don't have a car. I haven't driven since high school. I don't want a car. And so, and there were a lot of other reasons that LA just wasn't really the right choice for me, not hating on LA, but it wasn't right for me, but I was determined to force things to be what I thought they needed to be, which meant going to LA. And so I said yes, and I moved to LA. I became really clear really quickly that LA was not the right place for me to be. And one day I was I was miserable in LA. It was so funny because energetically and mentally and the details of my life were different, but the way that my life felt was exactly the same as it had felt at the end of my time in New York. I was overwhelmed, I was frustrated, I wasn't happy, I was confused, I was disillusioned, I was like, what the fuck is going on with my life? I was being almost suffocated by the weight of this life that I didn't like and I didn't want, to try to support this life that was just an illusion that was making me so unhappy. And so I was painting my apartment in LA. I had such a cute apartment in West Hollywood. And I was painting my bathroom one day. And as I was finishing up painting the bathroom, I heard the exact same voice that I had heard in the living room in New York say to me, you do realize that as soon as you finish painting this apartment, it's going to be time to move, don't you? And I was like, what the fuck? It chilled me to the bone because it was the exact same voice, the exact same sense of this loving, compassionate being basically saying to me like, look, kid, you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be unhappy. Life can be better, but you got to decide that you want it to be better and you got to be willing to do the work. So I looked out the window. I thought, was the TV on? Did I leave my, I was looking for an explanation, a way to try to explain this, but I knew in my heart that it wasn't a person. It was my, it was one of my guides speaking to me to try to get me to really just do what it was time for me to do. And so I went and I sat on the couch and I kind of freaked out for a minute. And then I just had this moment of clarity where I was like, okay, all right, disembodied voice, whoever you are, whatever you are, I feel, I know, I trust that you are here to help me, and that there is a sense of love and compassion coming from you. And whatever it is that you want me to do, I promise, hand to God, I will commit my life to doing it. Just get me back to Seattle. If you get me back to Seattle, I will do it. And at the time, my plan consisted of, I want to be self-employed. I want to help people. I want to live a life of service. And I want to be happy and fulfilled. That was it. Those were the only parameters and requests and sort of requirements that I had of my plan and of my life. And I didn't know what the hell else was going to happen or how it was going to happen. The next day I quit my job, and 3 weeks later, and I had no plan when I quit my job. I just knew that I needed to do that. Quit my job the next day. 3 weeks later, I had a job and an apartment and was back in Seattle. And then slowly but surely, as I continued to do my work and as I continued to surrender myself, the plan unfolded in front of me, and cooperative components, the people, the resources, the connections, the experiences, the opportunities, all presented themselves in the right time, in the right way, in the right place, in the right order. And there is no way that I could have written this path. There is no way. I had no clue. If you had told me, if I had been able to see, and if I had been able to see the plan that day when I was in my apartment in LA, when that voice spoke to me, I would have said, you're crazy. There is no way in hell I'm ever going to be able to do that. Me doing intuitive psychic healing channel, all of this. Are you kidding me? And if I had seen the things that I was going to be required to surrender and to give up and to let go of and to make peace with, and to, in terms of the work that I had to do, I would have said, oh God, no, that is terrifying. There's no way I can do that. But the infinite, perfect, coordinated plan that was set into motion that I did not have access to on a conscious, little Andrew level, absolutely unfolded in the right way and the right time and the right series of events to get me to where I am today. And now I'm living the life that I have dreamed of. And certainly it's still a work in progress. And certainly there are always things that I'm desiring, which is what is the whole point of this anyway, right? It's all about expansion. It's all about propelling ourselves to the next step. But trust is the key. To begin trusting myself. And when I say self, I mean all of me. Big Andrew, little Andrew, guides, angels, teams, protectors. They're all part of Andrew, because there is no separation of the energies. There's only the illusion of separation and an individuated aspect of source. But, just like my fingers are no less a part of the body than any other part, I am no less a part of all that is than all that is. There is no connection. There is no separation. I am all that I desire. I am that which I seek. I am the one that has the power to set things into motion. And I also am that which is guiding me towards what I desire, and that which has the plan in front of it and is saying, okay, it's like, you sort of have this earpiece. Okay, turn left here. All right, no, okay, now you're going to make a right up here. Okay, there's a person over here that you need to go talk to. Go talk to him. And I just trust. I trust that the impulses and the inklings and the nudgings and the longings and the sort of, I don't know why I want to go talk to this person. I just do. I don't know why I want to go here. I just do. I don't know how, to do this, but I'm just guided to do it. So I'm going to show up and trust that I'll know what to do when I get there. And I have, and I do, and they always are guiding me. They're always protecting me. They're always looking out for me. But my job is to trust the nudgings and the longings and the inklings and the ideas and the desires that I have that come to me and surface to me on an internal level as knowing that this is the next step for me to take. It's all about trust. It's all about faith. And it's all about believing that I don't have to do all the heavy lifting. In fact, when I say this is what I want and I plant the seeds of my desires, I trust that then the eternal, infinite, ancient cycles that are built into the process of germinating and sprouting and flowering and bearing fruit, they are going to continue. And I don't have to do anything to ensure that I can water it and fertilize it and clear the space for it. But once it's planted, once it's in the ground, I can oversee it and I can kind of check up on it. But ultimately, I will know when it's time to go water the garden. Okay, I'm going to go water the garden. There may be some wheat. Okay, I'm going to go look for wheat. So I will be guided to do the things, and we all will be guided to do the things that are necessary for us to do to get to what we want. But we've got to trust. And we've got to have faith that just because we can't see the whole plan, and just because we don't know what the next steps are, and just because we don't know how it's going to happen and have any idea, doesn't mean that it's not working out in our favor. It doesn't mean that we can't trust the process. So letting it be, having the dream, having the desire, having the goal, and then letting it be. Letting it unfold, letting it show you what it wants, letting it tell you what it needs when it needs it, and understanding that obsessing over it and just standing there and watching, waiting for the seed to sprout isn't going to make it sprout any faster. We can't force it to be something that it's not yet. And we can't make it grow any faster. And if all we are doing is focusing on, I will only be happy when I see the fruit, I will only be happy when I see the flower, I will only be happy when this plan comes to life, we completely put on the brakes of the whole process. And it comes to a screeching halt, and we begin to smother it, and we begin to, limit it, and we begin to try to control it. And then we miss all of the things that are in front of us that are still guiding us in that direction. But because we're so focused on where's the fruit, where's my stuff, where's the relationship, where's the job. And I'm saying this because I kind of tricked myself. I realized this morning, I was like, oh, I kind of got off kilter. With all of these things that I see coming, I've gotten so focused on the outcome that I've missed the unfolding of the journey that will bring the outcome to me. And so I just got to let it be. And I got to say, look, I trust that you're going to come to me in the right way, in the right time, and I will know what to do when the next step presents itself. But I got to let you be, because I've got other things that are still happening in my life, and other things. There's more than one, unfolding happening, and there's a lot of things going on in my life that I'm excited about, and certainly it is all part of this experience of myself as Andrew. But there are a lot of layers and a lot of levels to that, and so there's some other things that I've got a bunch of pots on the stove, and some are going to be simmering for a while, and some are kind of bubbling over, and it's time for me to look at them right now. So trusting, when we start trusting ourselves, things will begin to change for the better. And it's a process. It's a constant ongoing thing. So we never get it done. There's never an ending to it. And this desire will someday come to fruition, and I'll be able to pluck that fruit. And that will just create within me another desire. And that desire will be the catalyst for the next one and the next one. It's all about expanding and allow it to just continue to unfold in its own wonderful, magical way. And trusting that I am a part of the process, because I set the process in motion through my desires and my intentions and my requests of what I want my life to be. And the minute that I say, I want this sounds exciting, this feels wonderful, I would love to do that, bam, the plan is written. It starts to unfold, and I just got to trust that it's leading me in the right direction all the time. So letting it go, I understand the intention behind that. But for me, it's more about letting it be. Letting it be says, okay, I'm just checking. No, not ready yet. All right, cool. I'm going to go over here and do my thing. And as soon as it's time for me to come and, do whatever I need to do over here, I'll trust. It'll call to me and say, hey, I need you to do something really quick. And I'll do it, and then I'll go back to whatever else. There's always going to be something, but we just got to let it be and trust that it's going to unfold in its own time. So that's the message for today. Let it be, and trust that all that you are, the larger part of who you are, big Andrew, little Andrew, and all the other Andrews, which are all working towards the same goal, which is my happiness, my satisfaction, my fulfillment, and my expansion, and my unfolding of this life that I have chosen to live. It's all happening. And it's all happening in its right time, its right way, in its right order, and it's all perfect. And I just gotta let it be what it is, surrender control, and quit trying to get in there, muck it up, and force it to be something that it's not, because they don't the larger part of who I am, which is still me, doesn't need me in that way. And when it does need me to physically, actively do something, it will tell me. That's a big one for a recovering control freak. So that's it. As always, you can go to my website, my Facebook page, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Tumblr, all that. You just go right to my website and all those buttons are there. Let me help you if I can. I'd love to work with you, help you walk the path. And that's it. Thank you as always for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.